Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of the 1 week of Scratch series. Now in today's episode, Thursday, we're going to be learning how to edit the costume of a sprite. So on Tuesday, if you guys remember, we learned how to add a different costume. That way we could make little Kit Kat turn into either his normal self or a cat. And then last episode we learned how to make him change colors and do things forever or a certain amount of times. In this episode, we're going to learn how to actually edit his costumes and make our own. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to use my mouse and I'm going to go over to the costumes tab and I'm going to click it. Then I'm going to hover my mouse over this choose a costume button and it looks like this. I'm going to find the little paintbrush icon and click on it. You'll see we have a new costume. It's completely blank, but you'll see there's 2 little scroll bars and all these different things on the sides. I'm going to explain what everything does right now. By default, when you make a new costume, you'll be in vector mode. Vector mode has smoother curves and allows you to edit shapes better in general. You can control them a lot easier, you can create better custom shapes, and vector mode is really good if you want to animate something or if you just want to make something that changes shapes a lot. Vector also has much smoother corners and things like that. However, in bitmap, it's more of a blank canvas and you can paint like this. The problem with this is that if you paint like this, you can't highlight a certain section or the object. You have to undo it if you did something wrong. You can't just go back and edit what you've already done. For this episode, we're going to learn the vector menu because this is the one that's going to already be open when you create a new costume, and this is just the best menu out of the 2. So what we're going to do is we're going to click this little icon, and I'm just going to place a basic shape by clicking and dragging. So this is how you add a rectangle. If you want to add a circle or a line, you click the circle icon or the line icon. And just like the rectangle, you'll click and drag to choose where you want it to go. Select an object by clicking on it. To delete it, you can press the delete key on your keyboard or press the little trash icon up here that says delete below it. Now, I want to make this little rectangle, I want to give it an outline. In order to change the fill and the outline of a rectangle, or give a rectangle an outline at all, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to look at these 2 options. If I want to change the fill, I'll click this little drop down, and I can adjust these sliders to get the color I would like. This slider chooses what color it should be. This slider chooses how pale the color should be. If you have the slider at 100, the color is going to be very vibrant and bright. If you have it at 0, it's going to be completely white. The last dial shows the brightness of the color. If it's at the bottom, your color will be completely black, and if it's at the top, it will be whatever it is normally. If you want to pick a color from the screen, you can click this little icon, this color drop icon. This will let you go anywhere in your costume area and pick a color. If you want to make it transparent, click the icon that shows up as a white square with a red line in it. We're going to get into gradients and radial gradients in another episode. I also want to give this an outline. Currently, the outline is set to this icon, which means it's transparent. I want to make this outline black. What I'm going to do is I'm going to adjust the slider to turn the brightness to 0, therefore making it black. Now this outline is really tiny, so I want to make it bigger. How do I do that? The way I can do it is by clicking this number with my mouse, pressing backspace on my keyboard, and typing in any number I want. You have to play around with this to really get the hang of what numbers refer to what sizes. For now, we're going to do 10. Now you can see we have a purple rectangle with a thick black border on it. Now, something to keep in mind is that if I were to make this rectangle smaller, my border size seems to get thicker. What's actually happening is that the border size stays the exact same. So if I want to make this shape smaller, then I have to make the border size smaller as well to compensate. And to make the border size smaller as well to make up for it. Now, to put in simpler terms everything we just learned, you can click this button to create a rectangle. And once you've clicked it, click and drag anywhere on this little canvas area. And then let go, and your rectangle's there. Once it's selected, you can click this little drop down underneath fill and underneath outline to change the color of the fill and outline. You can control the color by playing with the saturation, the brightness, and the color. This part of the color changes what color it's going to be. The saturation makes it less or more white or pale, and the brightness changes it to be more or less black. The outline has the same color menu, and this icon makes it transparent, the white square with the red line in it, and the color dropper icon, the little, it looks like an eyedropper, that icon allows you to pick a color from your costume canvas. To change the thickness of your rectangle, line, or circle, simply click this number, double click this number at the top, press backspace on your keyboard, and type in any number you'd like. Resizing the shape does not resize the outline with it. That's pretty much the basics, and that's all you need to know to create good looking things. Now, there are a couple more things that you need to learn to create animations or really anything else. The first thing is the paint bucket tool. If I click this tool, you'll see all I can control is the fill. Now, and if I select this fill, I can choose any color I'd like. So I'm going to choose green. And if I hover over a shape, it'll allow me to change the color, the fill color of that shape to that color. Now, if you're wondering why a person would want to do this with only one shape and not just want to click it and change it themselves, they wouldn't. Normally, you would click and change it yourself. But if you have many shapes that you want to be the same color, you can simply click this and click all of them, and it will do what you want to. Another tool to remember is this tool. It's a little it appears as a little T in the menu. To use this, simply click anywhere and you'll see a little box with a blinking line in it. Type anything you want with your keyboard, and it'll appear. Simply click the little mouse icon on the top left of your little menu over here, and then click somewhere else to deselect it. Like all other shapes, you can click and drag it to move it around, and you can use these circles to expand it. You can also use this little arrow to change the rotation. Now, what if I want to edit this text? Well, you can do this in Bitmap, but something you can do in vector mode is click the text icon again and click a piece of text, or double click a piece of text. Now you'll notice it'll let me edit it, and I can change it to, instead of this is a good texting, I could change it to Kit Kat other costume. Now I selected this key, I selected this button, and I clicked out of it, and there you go. To change the color and outline of text, it works the same way as a shape. I can change the fill using the color, saturation, and brightness options. And I can change the outline even for text. If you want, you can make some text that looks like this. What I like to do is make text like this with a black outline. Make the text larger and turn up the text thickness, the outline thickness. Ready to make the outline thickness go up without having to type in a different number each time is to click these little arrows. Clicking it will make it go up by 1 or go down by 1. That's all you really need to know to do things in this editor. In the intermediate series, we'll cover how to use the shape changing button, the paintbrush and the eraser buttons, and how to use the bitmap menu. Well, that's all for this video. And before I tell you today's challenges, I want to ask if you were able to complete last week's challenges. Now for this episode's challenges, I want to see if at home you can create your own costume that has your name and text with your 2 favorite colors as the fill and outline. And I want to see if you can create a circle with a line in the middle. That's all for this episode. Thank you for watching the One Week of Scratch Beginner Series Thursday episode. I hope it was useful and I hope you learned something. Bye.